Good morning to all. In the previous video, we have discussed about what is zeta potential. Is the potential difference between the fixed layer and diffuse layer of opposite charges are called as a electrokinetic potential or zeta potential. If the particle of an insoluble material, that is precipitate, do not have double layer, they can come close enough and attractive van der Waals forces pull them together. When the particle possesses double layer, the overall effect is that particles repel each other at a large distance of separation. This repulsive prevents their close approach, and they remain dispersed and the colloid become stabilized. So like this one, the stability of the colloid is explained by your potential difference, that is zeta potentials. The addition of more electrolyte to the salt suppress the diffuse double layer and reduce the zeta potentials. This decrease in the this decrease the electrostatic repulsion between the particle to a large extent and the colloid precipitates. That is why colloid is particularly sensitive to opposite charge ions. Now let us go to the electrophoresis. The extent of charges on colloidal particle is confirmed by electrophoresis. When electric potential is applied across the two platinum electrodes dipping in a colloidal solution, the colloidal particle moves towards one or the another electrodes. The movement of the colloidal particles under the applied electrical potential is called as electrophoresis. So electrophoresis is nothing, the process of movement of the colloidal particle under the applied electrical potentials, that we call as electrophoresis. Positive charge particle moves towards the cathode while the negative charge particle moves towards the anode. In the picture we have seen that the two electrolytes is added in the colloidal solution, and those which have charges opposite charge on that the colloidal particles move. So when electrophoresis, that is the movement of the particle prevented by some suitable means, the dispersed medium begins to move in an electric field, and this phenomenon is called as electroosmosis. So electroosmosis is the movement of dispersion medium by applying electrical field towards a colloid. Now let us see about the coagulation or precipitation. The stability of the lyophobic salt is due to the presence of charge on the colloidal particle. If the charge is removed, then the particle will come near to each other and form an aggregation, that is form a coagulate and settle down under the force of gravity. That means coagulation is the process of settling down of colloid into precipitate. That process is called as a coagulation. So the process of settling of colloidal particle is called as coagulation or precipitation of the salt. Coagulation of the lyophobic salt can be carried out under the following ways. First one, by electrophoresis. The colloidal particles move towards opposite charged electrodes and get discharged and then precipitate out. So by electrophoresis we can coagulate a colloid. By mixing two opposite charged salt undergo coagulation. So opposite charged salt, when mixed at almost equal proportion, neutralize their charge and get partially or completely precipitate. By mixing of hydrated ferric oxide, that is positive salt, with arsenic sulfide, that is negative salt, bring them to form a precipitate. This type of precipitation, which was done by adding opposite charge that we call as a mutual coagulation. Again, in the third process, we can make coagulation of a colloid by boiling. When the sol is boiled, the absorbed layer is disturbed due to the increasing collision with the molecules of the dispersed medium. This reduces the charge on the particle and ultimately leads to settling down in the form of precipitate. And next is persistent dialysis or long dialysis, that is prolonged dialysis means longer dialysis. Traces of the electrolyte present in the sol are removed almost completely and the colloid become unstable and ultimately coagulate. Next, by addition of electrolyte. When excess of an electrolyte is added to the colloidal particles, then the colloidal particles start precipitation. So this is because the colloidal particles interact with ions carrying charges opposite to that present on themselves. This causes neutralization leads to the coagulation. So the ions are responsible for neutralization of charge on the particle called the coagulating ions. So as we know that coagulating ions are the ions which respond for coagulation of the colloids. A negative ion causes the precipitation of a positive charge salt. Like this one, a positive charge ions causes the precipitation of a negative charge salt. This is what about the coagulation. So now let us see about the fluctuating powers. Greater the valency of the fluctuating ions means that greater the valencies of that group which can neutralize the charge that we call as a fluctuating ions, greater is its power to causes precipitation. So in order to choose the precipitating agent, we need to see the fluctuating power of it. As here we have already discussed that greater the valency of the fluctuating sol, greater is the power of precipitation. And this rules is called as a Chazol's rules or Hardy-Chazol's rule, we can say. The minimum concentration of an electrolyte in millimoles per liter required to precipitation of a salt in 2 hours is called as a coagulating value. So what is coagulating value? Here we have already seen that the minimum concentration of an electrolyte in millimoles per liter required to causes the precipitation of salt in 2 hours. So within 2 hours, the amount of the electrolyte what you added need to precipitate the given colloids. That is what we call as a coagulating value. The smaller the quantity needed, higher will be the coagulating power of the ions. Smaller what we require, the higher is the coagulating. Now we'll see coagulation of lyophilic salt. There are 2 factors which are responsible for the stability of lyophilic salt. These factors are the charges and solvation of the colloidal particles. When these 2 factors are removed, then lyophilic salt can be coagulated. And this removal of these 2 factors are done by the addition of an electrolyte or by adding a suitable solvent. When solvents such as alcohol or acetones are added to the hydrophilic salt, the dehydration of dispersed phase occurs. Under this condition, small quantity of electrolyte can bring about coagulation. So now let us see about the protection of colloid. Lyophilic salts are more stable than lyophobic salt. This is due to the fact that lyophilic colloids are extensively solvated. That means colloidal particles are covered by a sheet of the liquid in which they are dispersed. Lyophilic colloids have a unique property of protecting lyophobic colloids. When a lyophilic salt is added to the lyophobic salt, the lyophobic particles form the layer around the lyophobic particles. That means lyophilic particles form a layer around the lyophobic particles, which can protect the latter from electrolytes. Means that this lyophilic salt protect to enter the electrolyte to the lyophobic salt. So lyophilic colloids are used for this purpose, are called as a protective colloids. So these are liquid colloidal system, that is the dispersion of finely divided droplets to another liquid, that is called as a emulsion. If a mixture of two immiscible or partially miscible liquids is second, a course of dispersion of one liquid in another is obtained, which is called as a emulsion. As if you put water in oil and shake properly, then you will get a ball-like structures that are nothing emulsion. Generally, there are two types of emulsion. They are oil in water type. That means oil dispersed in water. Another one is water dispersed in oil. Like this one, there are two types of emulsion. Now let us see about the emulsion more again. Emulsion of oil in water are unstable. Sometimes they spread into two layers on standing. For stabilization of an emulsion, a liquid component called emulsifying agent is used. That means emulsifying agents are those chemicals or those liquids which can make stable the given emulsion, that we call as emulsifying agent. The emulsifying agent form an interfacial film between the suspended particle and the medium. The principal emulsifying agent of oil in water emulsion are proteins, gums, natural or synthetic soaps, whereas for water in oil are heavy metals, salt of fatty acids, long chain of alcohol, and lumbex. This one you need to understand it properly, as it may comes in the objective type question. Emulsion can be divided with any amount of the dispersion medium. On the other hand, the dispersed liquid when mixed form a separate layer. The droplets of emulsions are often negatively charged and can be precipitated by adding electrolytes. So in order to remove the emulsion, you need to add an electrolyte, as they also shows Brownian movement and Tyndall effect. The emulsion can also shows Brownian movement and Tyndall effect. That means emulsion is a colloid. Emulsion is a liquid colloid, you can say. Emulsion can be broken into constituent liquid by heating or by freezing or by centrifugation. So in order to separate out the layers, either you need to heat, or either you need to freeze, or you need to centrifuge. Now let us see about the colloids around us. Colloids around us. Most of the substances we come across in our daily life are colloids. The metals we eat, the clothes we wear, the wooden furnitures we use, the house we live in, the newspaper we read, and are largely composed of colloids only. Blue color of sky, let us see it as an example of colloids around us. Dust particles along with water suspended in the air scatter blue light which reaches to our eye, and thus sky looks like blue. So this is what we know, that the blue color of the sky is because of the scattering of blue light by the dust particles along with water suspended in the air. Fog, mist and rain. Let us see. When large mass of air consisting dust particle is cooled below its dew point. The moisture from the air condenses on the surface of these particles, forming fine droplets. These droplets of being colloidal in nature and continue to float in the air in the form of mist or fog. So this is about the definition of fogs or mist. Colloids are clouds are aerosols. Clouds are aerosols having small droplets of water suspended on it. On account of condensation in the upper atmosphere, the colloidal droplets of water grow bigger and bigger in size till they come down in the form of rain. Sometimes the rainfall occurs when two oppositely charged clouds meet. It is possible to cause artificial rain by throwing electrified shell or spraying a shell carrying charge opposite to the one on the cloud from the aeroplane. So like this one we can bring it artificial rain. Now let us go to the food particles. Milk, butter, halwa, ice cream, fruit juices, etc. are of the all colloids in one form or the another. Blood. Blood is a colloidal solution of albuminoid substance. The stiopitic action of alum and ferric chloride solution is due to the coagulation of blood forming a clot which stops further bleeding. Now next, fertile soils are colloidal in nature, in which the humus acts as a protective colloid. On account of colloidal nature, soil absorb moisture and nurturing materials. Now next is formation of delta. River water is a colloidal solution of clay. Seawater contain a number of electrolytes. When river water meet the seawater, the electrolyte present in the seawater coagulate the colloidal solution of the clay, resulting in the deposition with the formation of deltas. Now let us go to the application of colloid. Application of colloid. So number one, electrical precipitation of smokes. Smoke is a colloidal solution of solid particles such as carbon, arsenic oxide, dust, etc. are in air. So smokes, before it comes out from the chimney, is lit through a chamber containing plates having a charge opposite to that carried by the smoke particles. The particles on coming in contact with these plates lose their charge and get precipitated. The particle does settle down on the floor of the chamber. The precipitation is called Kotler precipitator. The precipitator is called Kotler precipitator. Here is the pictures for Kotler precipitator. Now let us go to the purification of drinking water. Water obtained from the natural source often contain suspended impurities. Alum is added to that water to coagulate the suspended impurities and make the water fit for drinking purpose. Like this one, in medicine, let us see it. Most of the medicines are colloidal in nature. Colloidal gold is used for the intramuscular injection. Milk of magnesia and emulsion is used for the stomach disorder. Colloidal medicines are more effective because they are large surface area and are therefore easily assimilated. Now let us go to the tanning. Tanning. Animal hides are colloidal in nature. When a hide which has positive charge particle is soaked in tannin which contain negative charge colloidal particle, mutual coagulation takes place. This results the hardening of the latter. The process is termed as tanning. Chromium salts are used in place of tannin. Now cleaning actions of soap and detergent. As we have already discussed this one. Here soaps or detergent when dissolved in water in large concentration they can make miscellaneous. These micelles are the liquid colloids, and these micelles help to clean the dirty parts, as in the previous video we have already discussed. Now, photographic plates and film. Photographic plates or films are prepared by coating an emulsion of the light sensitive silver bromide in gelatin over the glass plate or celluloid films. Now, next, in the rubber industry, latex is a colloidal solution of rubber particles which are negatively charged. Rubber is obtained by coagulation of latex. Next, industrial products: paints, ink, synthetic plastics, rubber, graphite, lubricant, and cements are all colloidal solutions which are around us. Thank you.